Vandeham Shri Guru. Oh, we should open the curtains. Can you open the curtains? Vandeham Shri Guru. Shri Uttaparakamana Shri Guru. Vaishnavamscha. Jai Shri Shri Ram Guruji ki. Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sujivam Sanvetam Savadutam Purijanna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padahan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Bhagyanatamirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vanayati Namane Shyamarani Mataram Vande Agnopiya Anugrahat Tagarat Bhavasagadascha Labetcha Krishna Premadanam Shri Krishna Rupaya Vaidikala Visheshagnaya Namamyaham Pujam Shamaranim Swapanikaraya Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Adharyam Adharya Gunesha Yuktam Puranvaranyam Purushan Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasanamami Namo Om Vishnupadaya Kesha Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vamaniti Namane Gaura Bhava Mayo Deha Ujvara Rasa Bhavaka Bhaktivedanta Vamano Rag Bhakti Pravartaka Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Acharya Simharupine Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshavati Namine Atimarcha Charitraya Swashitanam Chapaline Jivaduke Sadartaya Nama Premadayane Gaurishaya Vigrahaya Krishna Kamaika Charine Rupanuga Privaraya Vinodeti Swarupine Prabhupadantarangaya Sarva Sarguna Shadine Mayavada Tamoganaya Virantartavade Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutare Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurjvana Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Varuda Pasidanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaurikishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambada Sambhude Padambojayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravya Baba Bhumestvam Nirjaista Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabudanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurantvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Mandamate Gati Matsarva Swapadambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Brindaranya Kapadrimara Shrimaradnagara Simhasanashto Shishi Radha Shri Govinda Devo Preshtani Bi Sevimano Smarami Shima Rasara Sarambi Vamshivantatatashtaha Karshan Venu Swanir Gopir Gopinata Shri Estuna Vrindaye Tulasi Devyaye Priyaye Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhakrakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Page 23 Krishna hoite chaturmukha Oya Krishna sevan mukha Brahma hoite Narendra mohati Narada hoite Vyasa Madhvaka he Vyasa dasa Purna pragna padmana bhagoti Nihari Madhava Vamshe Akshobhya Paramahamse Shishaboni Angi Karakohore Akshobhya Shishya Jaya Haribol, we back. Page 200. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Rupa Sanatana Dasara Gunata Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedoya Kori Swaparshara Sviya Dhamma Sahavatori Atyanta Dulabha Prema Karibare Dana Shikaye Sharanagati Vakatera Prana Danya Atmani Vedana Gomtip Vevarana Avashadakshibe Krishna Vishvasapalana Bhakti Anukula Matra Kayera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Vajanangikara Sharanga Sharanga Goti Hoi Bejara Tara Pratana Shune Shinanda Kumara Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trinakori Bhakati Vinoda Pade Japada Dori Gandiya Gandiya Bone Amito Dama Shikaye Sharanagati Karae Utohama Jaya Swaparshada Jaya Goda Hari Swaparshada Jaya Goda Hari Prashada Jaya Goda Hari Swaparshada Jaya Goda Hari. Nitai Gore? Wanna do Nitai? Wanna do Gore? Wanna do Nitai and Gore? Oh, that's a good one. Oldie but a goodie. Hey. 86. You want to lead? Me too.
So you do Garanga, and then I want to do Bhaji Puri.
Okay. Page 86. Let's do it all together. Karanga bodhite habe Pulaka sharira Hari Hari Bolitena Yane Babenira Adaka Benitai Chader Karuna Hoibe Samsara Vasana Mora Kabe Tu Jahabe Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shurabe Manam Kabeha Maherabo Shri Vrindavanam Rupara Gunata Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabeha Mabuja Bose Jugala Piriti Rupara Gunata Pade Dahumora Shah Shikayata Roye Sada Narottama Dasa Jaya Nita Jaya Gaur Jaya Nita Jaya Gaur Jaya Nita Jaya Gaur Jaya Nita Jaya Gaur.
That would be a good one to learn. Gauranga Bhagat. It's worth it. 137. 137. Bajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Bajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bajahure mana Shri Nanda Nandana Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manama Janama Satsange Janama Satsange Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange Taro e Bhava Sindhure Taro e Bhava Bajahure Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bajahure Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Sita Pata Tapa Vata Parisana Edina Jamini Jagire Sita Atapa Vata Parisana Edina Jamini Bifali se vinu kripana dora jana Bifali se vinu kripana dora jana Bifali se vinu kripana dora jana Bifali se vinu kripana dora Chapala sukalava lagire. Chapala sukalava Vajahure mana Shinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Vajahure mana Shinandanandana Dana Yovana Pucha Parijana Iteki Ache Parati Tire Dana Yovana Pucha Parijana Iteki Ache Parati Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Tala Mala Kamala Dala Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Tala Mala Bajahu Hari Pada Nitire Bajahu Hari Pada Bajahu Re Mana Shinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bajahure mana Shinandanandana Shavana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasyare Shavana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pujana Saki Jana Atmani Vedana Pujana Saki Jana Atmani Vedana Pujana Saki Jana Govinda Dasa Vilasare Govinda Dasa Vilasare Bajahure mana Shinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bajahure mana Shinandanandana Abhaya Charana Jaya Nanda Nanda Jaya Yasoda Nanda 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 Jaya Yasoda Nanda Jaya Nanda Nanda Jaya Soda Nanda Jaya Nasara Krishna Hey 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 O mind, worship the lotus feet of Sri Nandanandan, which bring fearlessness. This human birth is very rare, so take the association of saintly persons and cross over this ocean of material existence. Suffering the pains of the cold, heat, wind, and rain, I remain sleepless day and night. I have uselessly served miserly and wicked men for a fraction of momentary happiness. Wealth, youth, sons, and relatives, what assurance do they hold? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal, so always serve and worship the feet of Sri Hari. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, serving his lotus feet, engaging as a servant, worshiping, serving him as a friend, and completely offering him one's very self. These 9 limbs of bhakti are Govinda Das's cherished aspiration. Shri Govinda Das ki jai.
If I were to tell people suffering the wind, heat, and cold range, they don't have to suffer anymore. Just take shelter of lotus feet of Sri Krishna, who brings wide use visible. Life is tottering like weight from
110. Radha bhajane yadi mati nahi vela. Nahi vela. Krishna bhajana tava akarana gela. Ata parohita surya nahi jani. Radha virahita madhva nahi mani. Radha virahita ani kevala madhava pujaye so agyani. Kevala madhava Radhana dada koro iyabhimani. Dada koro iyabhimani. Kavahi nahi karabi takara sangha. Vahi nahi karabi chite chasi jati prajarasaranga. Radhika dasiyati hoya abhimana. Shigrai milai tava gokula kana. Brahma Shiva Narada Shruti Narayani. Radhika Pada Raja Pujaye Mani. Pujaye Mani. Umarama Satya Sachi Chandra Rukmini. Radha Avatara Sabe Amnayavani. Eno Radha Parichaya Takara Dana. Pakati Vinoda Tara Magaye Charana. Magaye Charana. bhajane yadi mati nahi bela bhajane Krishna bhajana tava akarana gela akarana Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Gora Haribo 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 Gora Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Gaur Premanande. If the desire to worship Shri Radha does not arise, then your worship of Krishna goes in vain. We cannot conceive of the sun devoid of sunlight. Similarly, we cannot accept Madhava separate from Radha. One who worships only Madhava is ignorant, and one who disrespects Shri Radha is simply conceited. Do not ever associate with such persons if your heart longs for the loving playfulness of Braj Ras. If you consider yourself to be the maidservant of Srimati Radhika, then very quickly you will attain Kanha of Gokul. We know that Brahma, Shiva, Narada, the personified Vedas, and Narayani, Lakshmi Devi, all worship the dust of Srimati Radhika's lotus feet. The revealed scriptures declare that Uma, Rama, Satya, Sachi, Chandravali, and Rukmini are all Radha's expansions. Bhaktivinoda begs at the lotus feet of those whose wealth is the service of Shri Radha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
Lakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah. Yang Pravrajantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putri Titan Mayataya Taruvo Banedos Tang Sarvabhu Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshri Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Praparyam Te Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike Kripayati Yadi Radha Balita Sheshabadha Kema Paravishishtam Pushti Maryadi Yorme Yadi Vadati Chakinshit Smeraha Soditashir Twijavaramani Panktya Mukti Shuktya Tadakyam Shama Sundara Shikanda Shikara Smeraha Samurali Manoha Radhikara Sikamam Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Kur Prananata Vrishabhanu Nandini Sri Mukhabjara Salola Satapada Radhika Padatale Kritastiti Tam Bhajame Rasikendra Shek Sambadaya Dashanam Mritam Vivo Prartaye Brajamahendra Nandan Astu Mohantavati Ballabha Janma Janmadi Madhiswari Priya. If Radha, Sri Radha, is merciful to me, then unlimited obstacles to my devotion will be removed. There will be nothing superior for me to attain, because I will have received the excellence offered by the paths of both Vaidhi and Rag. And if she speaks something while smiling gently, thereby revealing the brilliance of the rows of her beautiful pearl-like teeth, what significance will the oyster of liberation have? O Shamasundar, O you whose head is adorned with peacock feathers, whose face is graced with the laughings, whose murli flute enchants the mind, and who are expert in relishing ras with Srimati Radhika. O Vishnu Mercy, please make me a kinkari at the feet of your beloved. You are the Lord of the life of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and you are like a bee, always eager to taste the nectar of her lotus-like face. O Rasikendra Shekhar, foremost of those who are Rasik, who are situated at the feet of Srimati Radhika, I worship you. O son of the king of Braj, O all-pervading one, O Mohan who enchants the minds of all. Taking a piece of straw in my teeth, I pray that your supremely beloved Sri Radha be my dear worshipful goddess, birth after birth. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev. Nitchalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astotra Sat Shishimad Shilabhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev. Nitchalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astotra Sat Shishimad Shilabhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Bhakti began Parati Goswami Maharaj. To our grandfather gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti, began Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. To all of his divine associates and to all the assembled devotees, and the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus or my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. So here we are in the midst of, we're still in Naimisharanya, and we're hearing from Sutta Goswami, who heard from his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami, and coming down in disciplic succession, not imagine anything, and realizing what they've heard, they're giving the conclusions of life. So we left off where Sutta Goswami is bringing us to Badarikashram, the hermitage of Sri Vyasadeva, who, after contemplating the anomalies in this age of Kali, that everyone in the age of Kali has short lives, unlucky, always disturbed. What? And lazy. So he divided the Vedas, which were too difficult to understand by men, divided them into 4 and put his various disciples in charge of these 4 Vedas. He put Paila Rishi in charge of the Rig Veda, Jaimini, the professor of the Samaveda, Vaishampayana became glorified by the Yajurveda. That's only 3. There was Paila Rishi, Jaimini, Vaishampayana, but that didn't finish it. That's only 3. I only see 3. Oh well. Yeah. Next verse. The Samantu Muni Angira, who was very devotedly engaged, was entrusted with the Atharva Veda. And my father, Roma Harshan, was entrusted with the Puranas and historical records. So this is how Roma Harshan was able to be speaking the Bhagavatam, because the Bhagavatam is the best Purana, the essence of the Puranas, Bhagavat Purana, when Balaram walked in. But he made a mistake. Even if one is in the position of Guru, if he's not fully qualified to be Guru, he can make major mistakes and thus be ruined, like Ramaharshan was. So by my father, Vyasadeva, he was put in charge of the Puranas and historical records. all these learned scholars, in their turn, rendered their entrusted Vedas into their many disciples, grand disciples and great-grand disciples, and thus the respective branches of the followers of the Vedas came into being. Here, interestingly, Prabhupada says in the purport that there are no branches of knowledge, either mundane or transcendental, that don't belong to the original text of the Vedas. Everything ultimately comes from there. Thus, but they got perverted as they came down. Like science of military arts, they could throw an atomic weapon into the womb of somebody without hurting anybody outside the womb. But here it's just massive devastation. Thus the great sage Vyasadeva, who was very kind to the ignorant masses, edited the Vedas so they might be assimilated by less intelligent men. And out of compassion, he thought it wise that this would enable men to achieve the ultimate goal of life. Thus he compiled the Mahabharata for women, laborers, and friends of the twice-born. In the age of Kali, Kalo Sudra Sambhava, everyone is born Sudra, and then only by Brahminical study under the guidance of the bona fide guru does one come to the Brahminical platform. In previous ages, one is actually born into different castes, but in this age, not. Thus the sage being, wait, I think I skipped something. I did. O twice-born Brahmanas, who's speaking to who here? Who are the twice-born Brahmanas? Yeah, it's all the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shonaka Rishi. And who's speaking? Sutta Goswami, because he's talking about my father. Who's his father? Ramaharshan. Still, his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people. No one's satisfied in this world. Even, now we're meeting, entering into the Miami scene more and more, and meeting with people who are sincerely trying to do welfare for the people, for the trees. Our own Tanvi, she wants to put on an event where the people who are taking, young people like her, who are taking heroin every day, can learn how to take marijuana once a month instead of heroin every day. And so many things that the people are actually sincerely thinking that they're helping people, but nobody's satisfied. That's the thing. Even Vyasadeva wasn't happy. Thus the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, how come? He knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself, I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I've also abided by the rulings. I've shown the import of the disciplic succession through an explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Sudras, and others, that is, friends of the twice-born. Friends of the twice-born mean that they are say, born into a Brahmin family, but that's not the end. You need to get the qualifications. So they're called friends of the twice born. Because everyone is friends of the twice born in this age of Kali. Nobody is a Brahmana except, what is that verse by Srila Sanatana Goswami? That everyone is a Sudra, but just as by the alchemical process, are you looking that up, Asanti? By the alchemical process of mercury mixed with, in some alchemical process, the mercury turns into gold. Similarly, an unqualified person, by getting bona fide initiation by Sri Guru and learning under the Vaishnavas, he can actually become twice born. Did you find it? I'm feeling incomplete. That's when you get a spiritual master. When you're feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required in the Vedas. This may be because I didn't specifically point out, so he's guessing. I didn't specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear to both the perfect beings and the infallible Lord. So, just at that moment, when he was trying to figure it out, that's when Narada reached his cottage on the banks of the Saraswati as he was regretting his defects. So that's good to know, rather than to regret other people's defects. Srila Bharati Maharaj once said, if you find yourself regretting the defects of others, then you can stop yourself and think, oh my God, I've just wasted all this time in this human form of life that I could have been cultivating bhakti. At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Vyas got up and respectfully worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that of Lord Brahma, the creator. Who's Narada's spiritual master? Brahma, the creator. Right. So one, in our disciplic succession veneration, we worship our Param Guru, our grandfather Guru, as much as we do our Guru, not just our Guru, and then his spiritual master, all get equal worship, as one would worship the Lord. Prabhupada writes here in the purport that Brahma is the original student and the original professor of the Vedas. Who's he the student of? How? What did he hear from Krishna? He heard the sound of the flute. And who else did he hear? Divya Saraswati, transcendental knowledge coming from Krishna. And Gayatri Mantra, he also got from Krishna. By Krishna's flute, the Gayatri Mantra, who's not different from his flute, entered into the 8 ear holes of Brahma. And what did he get from that? I know, but what mantra did he get? No, he got the Gopal mantra from Divya Saraswati. And then he got the Kam Gayatri from Gayatri and Krishna's flute. What? Where am I quoting from? No, I'm just asking myself. Brahma Samhita. Yes. If Brahma is a Rupanuga, there's no mention anywhere that he's a follower of Rupa Manjari and that he's a Manjari. Yes, but one can also get the Kam Gayatri for creation, which he did, and Gopal Mantra. Because he was confused. Like, where am I? Who am I? He went down his lotus stem, couldn't find anything, came back up and heard the sounds, tapa, tapa. And so he did austerities, and then he saw the Lord. He even shook hands with Lord Vishnu. And it does mention in the Brahma Samhita that he realized that he's a maidservant of the Lord, but this doesn't mean a Manjari. Gurudev explained. So Sutta, now we're on chapter 5. We just finished chapter 4. Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishi amongst the brahmanas, called Brahmarshi, Brahma Rishi. And who's the father of Vyasadeva? What? Parasura. And who's the mother? Satyavati. What's her other name? Huh? Fisherman's daughter. And so she's Matsyagandha. She was very beautiful, but she smelled like a fish. Sometimes more than one person has the same name. So Satyavati Namo Namaha. Yeah. You give the truth, Satya. So, addressing Vyasadeva, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled. And there's no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work. That is what work? The Mahabharat. Mahabharat. 2 long A's. Mahabharat. Which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman, as well as knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? Vyasadeva replied, all that you said about me is perfectly true. Despite all of this, I'm not pacified. So I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. For you are a man of how much knowledge does Narada have?
So much.
That's vague. How much? Unlimited. Due to your being the offspring of Brahma, who is self-born without mundane father and mother. Who's Brahma's father? Yes, he has a father. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Aja. Yes, you're right also. But here it says in the parentheses, self-born means without mundane father and mother. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you. Vyasadeva is telling Narada, you know all the mysterious things. Because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world, who is also the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of nature. Like the sun, you're like the sun. Your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds. Now that's pretty amazing, that you can have a person who's like the sun, who could just travel in the lower planets, middle, upper planets, beyond all the mundane universes. So therefore, you're as good as the all-pervading Supersoul. So please find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence. There's a key word a couple of verses ago, which was that he wrote about the impersonal Brahman. But then again, I have to ask Madhav Maharaj, because he also wrote the Mahabharata, in which the Gita is there, and the Upanishads, which talk about Om Purnamadat Purnamidam, the Supreme Lord who walks but doesn't walk. Well, according to Srila Gurudev, the discrepancy is that he hasn't written about the pastimes of the Lord. Like Gurudev said, that Narada said, did you write about how Krishna cried when Mother Yasoda showed his stick? Or she bound him? Did you write about Krishna falling at the feet of Srimati Radhika? No, Gurudev, I didn't. Then what have you written? Narada said, it's coming up now in this verse, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy, which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord, is considered, can anybody guess? The philosophy that doesn't glorify, yes, useless, and here it says worthless. So he's telling him to directly glorify the Supreme Personality. Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles, beginning with religious performances. You have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudev. Vasudev is the son of who? Vasudev. But he's more so the son of Yasoda and Nanda. Those words, this is a very important verse. Those words which do not glorify or describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto the place of pilgrimage of the crows, since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode. They do not derive any pleasure where there's all the garbage cans and the crows. Where do they go? No, where do the people who are attracted to transcendence go? Like the crows are attracted to the garbage, and the mangoes cuckoos are attracted to the mango trees. Mundane literature are the crows category, containing refuged remnants of sensuous topics. So it's like the garbage cans. What do they contain? Refuged remnants of sensuous topics. Refused remnants of sensuous topics. Okay. Social literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, politicians who are completely absorbed in material advancement are all dolls of the material energy. They're not even doing anything. Trump isn't doing anything. He's just a doll. They're all dolls. It's really Maya herself who's condemning everybody from their past sinful activities. I think I'll throw that guy into the refuged remnants of sensuous topics. Now this is the most important verse. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo jasmin pratishlokam abhadavatyapi namanyantasya shashon kitani yat shrinvanti kayanti grinanti sadhava. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about. Now, you can tell this to people when you're distributing to them. Bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. 1:5:11, yes. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, like if there's bad grammar, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Hey, what's your name again? Charles, did you know that this very book is sung, heard, and accepted by purified men? That looks like you. Who are thoroughly honest. That definitely looks like you. And by you reading this and speaking this book, you'll be helping to create a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Oh, Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. And thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage. I was reading Gita Govinda yesterday, and at least once a chapter, Jayadev Goswami says, so just by reading this, I don't know how to say it, very intimately amorous pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the world would be liberated. He said only this can liberate the world. Like everyone is into their sensuous activities, but just by reading about Krishna's sensuous activities, the whole world gets liberated. And then when Radha and Krishna combine, in a tight embrace in the morning during the Shantalila? What is that? Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Renunciate. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate from the vision of the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat that has no resting place. The boat is just tossed and turned, so the mind is just tossed and turned when the person who has that mind is describing anything separate from the vision of the Lord. That's the reaction, is you get an agitated mind. You can tell that to people who says that their mind is agitated. Or you can tell them that their mind is agitated. And why? Is the heat on? It's so hot in here. Can you put on the air conditioner for a bit? The people in general, who's speaking? Huh? Narada. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you've encouraged them in that way in the name of religion, going to heavenly planets, living for a long time in the heavenly planets, enjoying godly delights. This is verily condemned, and it's quite unreasonable. Because they're guided under your instructions, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions, which I really don't understand, because in the Gita, there's nothing. Krishna says that reject the flowery language of the Vedas, which offer result in good birth, godly opulences. So I want to ask Sripad Madhav Maharaj about that today. And also what to speak of Isopanishad, which prays to the Lord to take off the covering of the impersonalism, uncover your face.
So your question of discrepancy is, why is Vyasadeva writing all this and writing all that?
Well, a lot of what he had already written is about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His glory. So why is Narada saying, you didn't do it? You just talked about material advancement. Then he continues, the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness. Well, I'll just give you an example of the most recent answer he gave. One lady, Vaishnavi, was asking me that she's hearing a lot that you're not allowed to chew tulsi. Like when tulsi leaves are in the prasadam and you're chewing the prasadam, you can't chew tulsi. You have to swallow her whole. So he said, where does that come from? Gurudev was asked this question so many times, and he said, yes, you can chew tulsi leaves. He said, especially what if the tulsi leaf is big, you'll choke on it. You want to share your question and answer with him? Yeah, Raga asked him that we obviously are not going to eat grains, but can we distribute grains, like if we have a lot of leftovers, which often we do, and then it turns out that that day is Ekadasi, can we distribute grains like to anybody, to the poor people? And if not, why not? Because after all, they would just be eating sinful food, like, meat and unoffered food. So why not distribute just because it's grains. It's a lot better than eating meat. So Maharaj answered, so just to save them, you're going to go into sin? Because one of the prohibitions is not only to eat but also to distribute. Why do you want to get contaminated to help somebody else get not contaminated? Does that make sense? In a funny way, he did. Right.
But what about the story of the Sudra who was following Akadasi and disturbed the entire kingdom?
I'm sorry?
There's a story, one of the Akadasi stories, of a Sudra who was following Akadasi and it disturbed the entire kingdom. The king had to figure out what was the problem there. The problem was that the Sudra was following Akadasi and it shouldn't.
I don't know if that's a bona fide. Where
I think I got it from this. Every Akadasi there's a story that goes
I know, but who wrote the story? I mean, where does it come from? Who translated it? What Akadasi book did it come from? Hmm?
Are there competing Akadasi stories like there's some Akadasi?
Well, there is a non-bona fide one that Gurudev mentioned was unbona fide. I forget the devotee's name. Some Swami. He wrote a whole book of that. I'm not saying he wrote it, but somehow, there's so many, like there's one unbona fide thing in the Garga Samhita that Radharani cursed Vrindadevi to fall down to the material world. She cursed Vrinda and Sridham to fall down to the material world. And so they became Tulsi and who? Sheila. And then they got married. And in India, so many people perform the marriage ceremony of them. But Gurudev said that's not bona fide at all. So sometimes the same scriptures have, bona fide histories, and now and then there's an unbona fide one. But that's why the Bhagavatam is called the Amal Purana, because it's completely spotless. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness, deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Lord. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions now. No, yeah.
We hear that Lord Shiva.
Can you speak louder for the live stream?
Lord Shiva is like 87% of Lord Vishnu, or is it 87% of Lord Krishna?
80. I think it's 86.
Of Vishnu or Krishna?
Well, even Lord Vishnu is only 96.
Right. And Lord Brahma is 88% or 78% or something.
78.
So Vyasadeva.
Well, he's not 78% of the whole Krishna, but 78% of the qualities of Krishna in minute.
Right. This a certain number of qualities he has. He's missing so many.
Yeah.
So is there something for Vyasadeva? Is there an appropriate number like that?
I haven't heard of any appropriate number.
Okay, because we hear he's the literary incarnation of Vishnu.
Yeah, he's the incarnation, and the books that he manifested are the literary incarnation. I used to think also that he's the literary incarnation, but then just recently I read that he's the incarnation, and the books themselves, the scriptures, are the literary incarnations.
So
But anyway, it comes to the same thing.
So we consider Veda Vishnu Tattva?
That's an interesting question. I'll ask Shripad Madhav Maharaj. Yes, I think so, but I'll ask him for confirmation.
Thanks.
Any other? Would you remind me, Vasanti, to ask those two questions? Right, one is he Vishnu Tattva? Two is, he already did. He already did it. And what's the third? I don't remember a third. Oh, can you take the mic?
So is it or is it not okay to chew on tulsi leaf?
Yes, it's okay.
It's okay, okay.
Huh? Mike? We need multiple mics here.
I've heard that in our universe, our Srila Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Krishna, but I've heard in other universes he's actually just a Shakti-Vesh avatar, something like that. Like
Shakti-Vesh is also a type of incarnation,
but
incarnation of the power.
but I thought
Oh,
ours-
Shakti-Vesh is not a Vishnu Tattva.
Yeah.
You're saying, well, we'll find out.
Okay.
That's a good addition to the question. Is that it for the questions? Any life questions? How do I apply this all for my life? It's all clear.
The question's limited just to members running. Well, can you speak a little bit about mundane talk and Krishalpa then?
Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Well, yeah, because that is in relation to this. Because Sutta Goswami is saying any other talk that's or writing that's outside the vision of the Lord is makes the mind restless like a boat without any rudder, tossed in the sea. So Srila Raghunath Das Goswami prays to his mind or instruct his mind, "O mind, don't associate with the prostitute of mundane talk, which steals the very intelligence."
Can you translate that to common 2025 American English?
Yes, if we speak about mundane things, even if we're not speaking about the glories of the descriptions of the Lord, we can say like, "Please pass the salt," or "How much salt do I put in this while I'm preparing it?" Because those are all in relation to devotional service. But any gossip, criticism, mundane news of the day, like the government of America, those topics, political discussions, social discussions, who just married who, and then they got an abortion, and then they got a miscarriage, and then all of that makes the mind restless, like the boat, agitates the mind.
So when we're preaching or we are associating with people who aren't yet externally devotees, how do we go about, sometimes we have to go into some level of mundane talks to connect with them.
100%. Because Srila Sanatana Goswami, just in order to make them feel comfortable with him, he would go to the different villages. "So has your daughter's marriage been done yet?" But only for bringing it around to Krishna. And how much? just enough to bring it around to Krishna.
Is there some way to reform or reframe mundane topics and correlate it to service for God? Like, let's say I'm cooking and it's how much salt do I put in this thing? And if I'm a cook and I love cooking and I'm gonna nourish myself and other people that I love, so it's not just give me the salt because whatever it goes in the dish. It's for love.
Love of who?
Taking care of your body and feeding your friends.
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
No. I'm cooking for Krishna, and I'm distributing Krishna's mercy in the form of the prasadam to help people advance, not only become nourished, but also advance in bhakti. Otherwise, Krishna says that anyone who eats food without offering them first in sacrifice to Krishna, he's verily eating only sin, because it's all stolen goods, and it's for the purpose of sense gratification. Nourishing my body so that I can enjoy sense gratification.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you understand what I said, but does it make sense?
It does make sense. Well, what I meant, when you take care of yourself, you're also kind of servicing God, because if you abuse the body you've been given, then that's sort of like a disservice to
Absolutely
Krishna.
bogus statement.
No? Okay.
No. It's first you please the Lord, and then we get the remnants of that. Anybody can say that service to mankind is service to God. And that's what many charity people say. Service to man is service to God. All men are God, and so everyone should feed the Daridra Narayan. That's the group of, what's that group called? Ramakrishna Mission. To serve the poor of mankind is service to God. No. Service to God is service to mankind. Otherwise, just serving mankind, all mankind goes to hell, and so does the server.
Okay. And then I have one last question.
She is using the microphone. Can you speak louder?
Yes. And then my last question is, what if I'm, from some part of the world where bhakti yoga isn't really popularized, it's not really a thing, but I still offer it to my God, right? And
Who's your God?
I don't know. I was speaking very
Hypothetical.
like a hypothetical.
I know,
right?
but I'm still asking, who's your God?
Let's say I'm just totally Christian. I've never heard of bhakti yoga, right? I don't know anything of it. But before taking my food, I bless it, right? Assuming it's vegetarian. I bless my food. I give grace, and then I feed myself and my loved ones. Is that still...
These are all very unrefined words. I give grace, I bless it. Who are you to bless? Who are you to give grace? If you mean that we thank you, God, for our daily bread, you're thanking God. Still, if you don't know who God is, you can never reach him. But if somebody is very sincere about reaching God, then Krishna will bring him to the place where Krishna is being glorified. In this day and age, there's internet, so there's no country that's can have an excuse.
Okay.
But if you're sincerely looking for God, then he'll reveal himself. Dhruva Maharaj was, he wasn't looking for God at first. He was he was very angry because his stepmother said, "You're not qualified to sit on my husband's lap until you take birth in my womb," because her son was sitting on the father's lap. But she was the co-wife of Dhruva's mother. First you have to die, take birth in my womb, and then you can sit on his lap. So he was furious. And then he desired a kingdom greater than his father's, and even greater than his grandfather Brahma's kingdom. And Brahma's he owns the kingdom of the universe. So he went to his mother, and he was crying and complaining. And his mother said that the Lord, Krishna, he can love you more than millions of mothers. So go and find him, and he'll satisfy your desires. So he did severe austerities for 6 months, and he realized the Lord. And when he saw the Lord, he said, oh, I have been looking for some broken pieces of glass, and now I found a great jewel.
Okay. Understood.
This shows that you have lots of devotional service in past lives, that you pick up things easily. Good quality.
Thank you.
Should we end here, or does anybody have any urgent questions? Okay, Gaur Premanandi, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Narada Muni ki jai, Sutta Goswami ki jai, Vyasdeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You're not a book, you're Prabhupada and all these personalities. Please shower your mercies so that we can realize everything that you're saying as we are sitting at your lotus feet. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And this evening is Hari Nam. And can we go out earlier so that we don't have to end up, when I asked Vasanti, when she comes back at night, how was it? It was sweet. There were about 30 people out there. If you want to go to some place, take the time, have the time to go to some place